let's see. What else do we need to get to? I know we had a couple things else I wanted to mention, right? Or you did.
Well, we wanted to go right into the estate planning topic
Oh, yes.
of charity, right?
Exactly. Yeah. We do need to get into that a bit. So let's talk about estate planning a little bit more and talk about, Mark, what we need to do and how you can help with that.
Well, what I wanted to talk about today was specifically around charity. Yesterday we all sat around the table and we ate and we filled up, and a lot of people said, you know what, I've had enough. I'm good. And it's interesting because I was speaking with one of our contributors on the team last week about, their plans and what they need and, financially. And they said, I have enough. And it was really powerful to me for someone to say, I'm good. I have enough. It was really peaceful. And I think that happens a lot in families where, you have that generational wealth, if you will, right? So a lot of families can sit back and say, you know what, everybody's good. Everybody has enough. But who doesn't, right? Who can we help who doesn't have enough? And that's where the charitable giving comes into play with the estate and legacy planning, right? So a lot of what we're doing is mapping out those dreams and aspirations. Who can we help? Maybe it's your alma mater. Maybe it's the PMC or the Boys and Girls Club local to your area, or Best Buddies or American Cancer Society. Maybe these are the organizations that you want to bequeath, give some of your estate to, right? And when it comes to estate planning, we really like to reinforce the fact that it is not a one-size-fits-all scenario. We are not entering names into forms. This is a one-size-fits-one process, right? This experience where you're sitting down and mapping it out. We have Ben and his team who are amazing writers. What you're doing is you're basically writing a contract to the world. This is how I want to see things happen after I'm gone, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe, we've talked about distributing funds to children at different ages. Maybe a portion of their estate is delivered to them at the age of 25, and then another third is delivered to them at age 30. And then that final distribution at age 35, which gives them the opportunity to kind of get used to having the money. You could do that with charities as well, right? Because some of the groups that you really want to support are smaller in nature, right? They don't have those departments set up for a legacy receiving, right? So maybe it's your local education foundation and you want to distribute a certain amount at this point, and then 5 years later, and then 10 years later. Maybe it's a group like Alice's House or Friends of Jack, or as one of our team attorneys is so bullish and supportive of, the Children's Room for those that are grieving lost parents, right? So you can distribute them in different ways, and it doesn't have to be one lump sum, right? It doesn't have to be any specific way. It can be what you want it to be, which is why estate planning is so important, but also so special. It's you. It's your message. It's your legacy. How do you want to do what you want to do? And you'll never hear somebody from our team say, well, we can't do that, unless, of course, it's illegal.
Yeah,
but
well, yeah.
There's no filling in any blanks. This is writers. We have people who sit down and creatively write what you want to see happen. And sometimes that's journaled. It's scribed. It's real creative writing, as opposed to hit section A and fill in this blank there. No, we want you to be able to explain your wishes, your values, your goals, your ambitions, your dreams. And to do that in writing through the trust planning is really important.
We did get a text in here. I'm hoping maybe you can help Barry out. Barry from Pembroke is texting on the text line to WATD. You can text us by sending your text message to 781-837-4900. 781-837-4900. He has a question about, this is about an estate plan or a trust. He says, Mark, what needs to be done to an estate plan and trust when a family member has a name change in the family? Does everything get rewritten, or is there an amendment type of document? What happens when a family member has their name changed?
Barry, great question. What we always encourage people to do is to take a look at their own internal estate plan every year, but also to have us take a look at it at least every 5 years, because things do change and amendments do need to be made. Sometimes it's things that are happening in your world, right? 5 years is a long time. Things do change over the period of time of 5 years, but also things external, like tax laws, right? A lot of things tend to happen. 5 years is when a political cycle happens, so we always like to say 5 years is a good opportunity to come in, review, has anything changed significantly in your world, but also have any of the tax laws changed since the last time we met? And we go over those to determine whether things need to be changed. Does a name change necessarily need the attention immediately? Maybe, but chances are there is a way to identify who that person is, depending on why the name was changed and who it was, like a marriage or something. Those are easily identifiable as the same person as that person. But it's always good to double check and be as clear and unequivocal as possible when you're having your estate plan drafted, right? So Barry brings up a good point. If you want to be super clear, Barry, we can absolutely sit down, review it, and maybe review the whole thing, right? Because there may be other things that maybe you haven't reviewed it in a few years. But to clarify that, formally known as is one way of doing it, because sometimes people get married and they change their names. And although it may seem obvious, maybe there is some ambiguity that there's someone else that has a similar name, and you want to be as clear as possible so that there are no objectors, if you will.
All right. Well, we hope that helps you out, Barry. And if people have more questions and they'd like to get in touch with Stiles Law, Mark Stiles, and his great staff, Mark, tell us how to get in touch with you.
Well, the best way, Rob, is always through phone, 781-319-1900, 781-319-1900. We are closed today. We're taking care of our contributors today, a day of rest, and be with their family. But I always encourage people to go to our YouTube channel, at Stiles Law. We did a video specifically about charitable giving a few years ago that I think people will get a kick out of. We put a little humor behind it, but if you go to our YouTube channel and search the estate planning videos, there's a really good one about what we're talking about here today, which is giving to charities.
All right. Barry says great advice. Thank you very much. And I say thank you, Mark Stiles of Stiles Law on Route 139 in Marshfield. Have a great weekend, Mark, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Rob. Very grateful for you and the team at ATD. Have a great week, everybody.